We all make mistakes. And in this video, I'm going to share the ones that I have made, so hopefully you won't make them as well. Hi, it's Karolyn. I'm back with another video, and if this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. I'm a professional cake decorator just outside of Philly, and if you want to see the different tips and tricks and ways that I bake and decorate cakes and help you along your cake journey, then hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you can get notified whenever I release a new video. So, like I said, I'm not perfect. I know. I have made mistakes, believe it or not. But after I've been decorating cakes since about 2002, and in the last 18 years, things have happened. It doesn't go smoothly all the time in business, and I just want to share with you some of the different, I'll say stupid or careless or whatever mistakes that I've made, so hopefully you won't make them as well. I made a list and I did prepare for this video, and I have 9 tips, but I'm going to say 8 plus a bonus because we all love bonuses, and that's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to give 8 tips plus a bonus tip at the end, and here we go. Mistake number 1, not getting payment in full before I start making the cake. So I always would require a $50 deposit to hold a spot, but if I knew someone was going to pay me cash for the balance, I would just make the cake and then take the cash. And that ended up biting me in the butt a few times. I recall a time I was going back and forth with this lady. She ordered a baby shower cake for her daughter. It was a diaper bag. It was shaped like a diaper bag, a sculpted cake with the stinking rattle in it and the booties and everything. She texted me the morning she was supposed to pick it up, said, I'm not picking up the cake, or I don't need the cake. She said, I don't need the cake. I'm not having the shower anymore. I was like, awesome. Spent all this time making this beautiful cake, and it went to waste because I was an idiot and didn't collect all the money up front. Because that happened, I now have a policy. So for payments, I collect a $50 deposit to secure the spot, and then within 10 days of the due date, I require the balance paid in full. It's really nice to have access to Venmo and Cash App and PayPal and a lot of electronic payments, so you can collect payment and make sure that the cake is paid in full before you even get started. I'm not going to make a cake unless it's completely paid for, and I learned the lesson the hard way. Mistake number 2, spelling the name wrong on the cake. Oops. I remember one time I made a cake and I wrote the name Chase on it, and it was supposed to be for chance. And the lady came to pick it up and she was like, spelled the name wrong. And I was like, oops. And she had to go out to her car and wait for about 20 minutes while I changed everything up. So now, because I did that, what I do is I send a picture, I text a picture to the person who is picking it up the day before. That way, if anything has to be changed, if I spelled the name wrong, if I got the age wrong, if something happened that they don't, or if something is on there that they don't like, I can change it that evening before they come pick it up the next day. Mistake number 3, pricing. And I did say this in my other video about having a successful cake business. Pricing is definitely trial and error, but Minecraft and those stupid squares, ugh! I undercharged for a Minecraft cake, like way undercharged. I looked at it and thought, that's pretty easy. And then I was in tiny square hell, cutting out all these squares and pasting them and like crying. And it was just a horrible situation. So in order to really avoid making pricing mistakes, what I do, you really have to look at the design someone is asking for and break it down. Really think about how long is it going to take to actually execute something like that? Because sometimes what looks easy can be a little difficult and time consuming. Just remember that when you're pricing your cakes. And I can link my video on my tips for a successful cake business where I go a little more into pricing. Mistake number 4. I forgot to make a cake before. Oops. So it was it the day of or the day before? I can't remember. The lady texted me and said, when can I pick up my cake? And I was like, what cake? Totally forgot about it. Totally forgot to make it. And I scrambled and I stayed up all night and I put this cake together and I made it for her and she was able to pick it up. So now what I do in order to prevent that from happening, I have a whole system. I send everything to my email inbox. And before I delete it from my inbox, I make sure that it is logged in my folder, in my order folder. I did make a video the other week on how I take orders. I can also link that below. But here's the system that I have. If someone orders from me on Instagram, that's not in my inbox. So I'll screenshot that order, send it to my inbox to remind me to check Instagram and to log it into my book to make sure that I don't forget about that person. I actually could probably go a little more into detail on that in another video, but there's so many different places where I get orders from, Facebook and Instagram and my cake Instagram and my cake Facebook page and my website, and you know, people text me and it's like comes from all over the place. So if it doesn't come directly to my inbox, I screenshot it, I email it to myself, and then I make sure I take care of it when I can sit down at my desk and log all of my orders. Since I've been doing that, I've never forgotten to do another cake. Why was that so hard for me to say? Mistake number 5, a melting wedding cake. That was fun. Luckily, the bride was pretty easygoing and it wasn't a big deal. However, I have a friend who owns a restaurant and I do make wedding cakes for him from time to time. The venue where they have weddings in the summer is in a tent. And I'm just outside of Philly, and in the summer it can get really hot and humid here. So when she ordered the cake, she wanted it iced in buttercream and she wanted some floral decorations on it and whatnot. And I didn't think to say, this is going to be outside in a tent in 100-degree weather. You might not want to get a cake like this. And I did it and I delivered it and it was okay. But she sent me pictures of them cutting the cake and I saw the little flowers dripping down the side. Luckily they understood, and because it was so hot and humid that day, they weren't upset about it. But that could be a really tricky situation, especially being somebody's wedding cake. So in order to prevent that from happening, what I do when I take cake orders, especially in the hot months, and when it's cold, I mean, cakes love the cold weather. So that's one of the reasons why I love winter, because cakes don't melt. But in the hot summer months, I ask, where's the venue? Is it going to be outside? Is there access to air conditioning? And then I try to let them know if the design that they want is going to hold up being sitting out on a table wherever they are. Last summer I had a bunch of people pick up a cake who were having it in a park because of social distancing. And again, if it's in a park, if it's 100 degrees out, even if it's in the shade, it's warm. It's gonna melt the butter and it's not gonna last that long outside. So you have to modify the design, maybe cover the cake in fondant instead of icing it in buttercream. Maybe, there's just a lot of different things that you can do to modify the design depending on the weather. For that wedding cake, I shouldn't have done a big buttercream iced cake with decorations. I should have just said to her, it's going to be outside in a tent. You have to know that it's going to be really warm. You're going to want a simple design, maybe like a semi-naked cake with some flowers that could still look pretty, but it's not going to fall apart in those hot conditions. Mistake number 6, putting the correct information from the email on the order form. Ugh. Sometimes I don't know what is wrong with me. Maybe my head is just, I go crazy when I get a little busy and I'm not totally focused on what I'm doing. Focused, I said that so Philly right now. And I've had a couple incidences where I didn't go back and check the email before I made the cake to make sure the information was right, and I made the wrong design. And why do I keep talking like this? Anyway, I printed out pictures here so I could show you because I'm not too sure how to enter the pictures. I made a minion cake. I think this was last year. So this is the one that I originally made. And then I had to completely take it apart and redo it to make it like this. Now, when I looked back at the email, she did send me a picture that was more like this one. She wanted the eyes bigger. She wanted that little curved mouth. And she wanted it to be shorter, like a baby minion. This one was too tall. The colors were off, you know, and it's a tough pill to swallow when you make a cake. You spend hours doing it, and then you go back and read the email and you're like, I'm an idiot, I messed up. And it's because on the order form, I didn't specify the cake has to be a little baby minion. You know, it has to be light pink, not hot pink. I just had pink on there. And now I know, so I don't make that mistake again. I usually go back to the email and check out what the requests are before I start making and decorating the cake. I make sure I have the flavors correct on the order form. I make sure I have all the decorating information correct, just to double check and make sure that I don't end up in that situation again. And I was pretty proud of myself. I couldn't believe it. I stinking took that minion apart and put it back together in like 2 hours. And when do I ever work that fast? It's pretty crazy what you can do when you just focus and set your mind to it. Now, luckily, this is another instance where I texted the picture the day before she came to pick it up, and then I was able to take my time and fix it and have it ready for her when she came the next day. So always text the picture prior to pick up, at least the day before, just in case something like this pops up and you have to fix it. Mistake number 7. I got a parking ticket when I delivered a cake before. Now, if you live in Philly or if you're from around here, you know the stinking Philadelphia Parking Authority, the PPA, they are on top of you like white on rice. They, like, seriously, if you even look at the wrong parking spot, you have a stinking ticket in your window. I delivered wedding cupcakes for my friend years ago. And when I got there, I parked my car and I was just going to run up real quick and set them up and come back down. However, there was a little issue. The top, I don't want to explain the whole issue, but I couldn't just set them up. I had to modify the whole arrangement. So I was in there for probably 45 minutes when it should have just been 5 or 10 minutes. And when I came out, I had a stinking $75 parking ticket. And I think delivery, you know, it was more than the delivery charge, and I ended up losing money on that on the delivery. So now, to avoid that from happening, when I deliver a cake, I always make sure, Google Satellite is amazing because you can actually go and not the satellite, where you can like look around the neighborhood. I usually type it in on Google and then take a little 360 and see if there's parking. If there's no parking, I will let the customer know, hey, I need somebody to meet me outside so they can get the cake and take it in so I don't have to leave my car. Or I've even had people who I trust, people who I've known, I've had people stay with my car as I run the cake inside of the venue. Or sometimes you can bring a friend or a family member along with you to sit in the car while you're taking the cake in to make sure that they can move the car so you don't get a ticket. So I will never get a ticket again. Mistake number 8, and this goes along with the delivery aspect. A couple weeks ago, I delivered a cake, and this is my fault, and I don't know why I didn't double check because I usually do, but this is what happens when you don't cross your I's and dot your T's. Cross your T's and dot your I's. The girl told me you can deliver the cake anytime after 9 a.m. So I was like, okay. I got there at 9 a.m. because I had other things to do. Well, nobody got there until 10. Okay, so I was sitting there for like 45 minutes and I'm like, I was mad at myself. I'm like, I'm so stupid. I should have called the venue the day before and set this up. Why did I just take the word of the person? Like, they don't know. I mean, she didn't mean it maliciously. Maliciously? I think that's the right word. She didn't mean it in a bad way. She just told me what she thought I could do, and I didn't double check. So to avoid that from happening, what I usually do, and just didn't do that time, I call the venue the day before, try to get a contact name, and just say, this is Karolyn from Karolyns Cakes. I'm delivering a cake tomorrow for Jane Smith for her party. Can you please let me know what time I can arrive and where is there parking? Can I park? And just get as much information as you can. And also, before you take the cake in to deliver it, I like to walk without the cake to see the path that I need to go and find the table that it needs to go on, and then go get the cake and bring it in. And now mistake number 9, but I'm gonna call it your little bonus mistake tip, is I was hit, when I first started, I was hit with a big tax bill because I did not pay my quarterly taxes. When you are 1099, which means you're self-employed, you are responsible for sending your tax payments in. And if you are not disciplined about it, you get that money and it's not all yours. So you do need to make sure that you're sending money away so you don't get hit with a big bill at the end of the year. Quarterly tax payments are sent April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and January 15th. So you just have to make sure I have like a savings account and I'll transfer money into that and then pay my tax bill from that savings account on a quarterly basis so I'm not hit with a huge bill at the end of the year. It's just something I prefer to do. I was, in shock with like a $10,000 tax bill when it wouldn't be that bad paying $2,500 quarterly. I always send in my quarterly taxes. So there you go. There are just some of the mistakes that I've made. I know I've made more, but those are some of the big ones that I've made that I've actually learned from my mistakes and conducted business differently because of them. And sometimes bad things happen in life to us to get us to a better place. And I learned the lesson the hard way on all of these, and I became a better business person and I operate more efficiently because of it. So I really can't think of anything else to say. If you've made other mistakes, you can comment below and we can start a little conversation. I'd love to know what you have done wrong and what you've done to correct it so we can all try not to make the same mistake in the future. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I try to check my YouTube messages once a day in the morning before I start working. And please like this video if you liked it. It really helps out my channel. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already and you want to see more videos like this. And you can follow me on social media. I am on Facebook and Instagram, and I have my website. I will link all of that below. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.